Hello and welcome to the July Lake Norman market update. My name is Jamie Forte. I'm with Roost Real Estate, and I'm going to show you guys the market performance here at Lake Norman for June of 2025. So just to get started, I'm going to first show you what we are referring to when we say the Lake Norman market. Lake Norman is actually surrounded by four different counties and many different towns. But everything that's within this blue shaded line is what the MLS considers the Lake Norman market. So all the metrics that I'll be speaking to are referencing properties within this shaded area right around the lake. So that being said, I'm going to just review the metrics here, and then I'll discuss several takeaways for buyers and several takeaways for sellers. So first of all, new listings. Listings were up 15% this June versus last June, and year to date we're up 17%. So inventory has increased. Closed sales were actually down 9% this June versus last June, but overall year to date we're up 4.4% for closed sales. The median sales price, which is the most frequently occurring number in the market, is up 5.7 for June, but up 7.5 year to date. So the median sales price currently is 591 year to date. Average sale price was up 11.7% in June, and it's up 7.4 year to date. So average sale price at the lake, in the Lake Norman market is 887,000. Percent of original list price received was 95.1 in June, which is down 1.3. And year to date, it's 94.8, which is down 1% from last year. And so that represents what a property actually sold for versus what it was listed at. And so you can see that sellers are negotiating on their prices. And continuing on, days on the market until sale were up 7.9% for June, and year to date, it's up 16.3%. So homes are taking longer to sell in the current market conditions. Average list price was 918.6, which was down 19.4% June over last June. However, it's up 3% year over year at just over $1 million as the average list price at Lake Norman. So, and then finally, the inventory overall is up 43.8%. So that's a big one. So, and then if you measure it in terms of the number of months it would take to sell it all, we're at 4.6 months, which is up 31% from last June. And so for those of you guys that don't know, in real estate, if you look at the market as the number of months it would take to sell all the inventory, between 0 and 4 months is a strong seller's market, and anything north of 6 months is a strong buyer's market. We're currently in a balanced market here at Lake Norman, and it's actually a really great time to both buy and sell in the current market condition. And so with that, let me just kind of break down 3 different takeaways for buyers and sellers based on this data I just shared with you. So first of all, on the buy side, obviously with the inventory being up, you have a lot more choices, many more options to choose from, which is great when you're on the buy side. And that being said, because there's a lot of options, sellers, are willing to negotiate like they haven't been over the recent past few years. And so we discussed how the average list to close price is 94.8. So just keep that in mind if you're shopping for a home, that you can make an offer in some cases, and obviously discuss with the agent you're working with. Hopefully you're working with one of our Roost team members, and we can advise you on the pricing of the home you're looking at. But there's likely an opportunity for you to get that house for less than what it's listed for. And the last thing I'll say to the buyer pool is that it's always in the market we're in, even though we have higher inventory, things are taking a little longer to sell. You can see that the average price and the median price is still up about 7.5%. And so if you're thinking about buying in the market that we're in currently, it's likely that the prices are going to be higher next year and the year after and so on than they are right now. And so we're seeing a very healthy price appreciation here at Lake Norman, even compared to nationwide price appreciation. So just something to think about if you're looking to buy a property. On the seller side, if you're thinking about selling your home, just remember that you have more competition now with the inventory being up as it is. Buyers have more options to pick from. So you have to make sure that you're pricing your home properly. The other thing to consider is if you'd be offering concessions or other things as a part of the sale of your home to make it more attractive for a potential buyer. Some people don't realize this, but a concession is more preferable most of the time for a buyer than even a price reduction, because if they're financing the home, $10,000 or $20,000 on a mortgage doesn't mean much of a difference in the mortgage payment. However, 10 or 20,000 or whatever the number is in a concession can be a significant benefit to that buyer at closing. They can use that money for their closing costs, or they can use it to buy down their interest rate, or there's a lot of different things that can be done with that, which is more attractive to a buyer. So the other thing is to be prepared for a longer sales process. So a lot of buyers, or excuse me, sellers right now, perhaps they bought their home even during the years where things were selling within hours or within a couple of days. And what's important as a listing agent when I'm talking to sellers is to manage the expectation, because in the market we're in, it's not likely going to sell within a couple of days. They still happen. We still see this happening in the market, but not as many, nearly as many as we have in the past. And you can see here that the days on market until sale is up 16% at 57 days. So just something to think about and be considering with your plans, and just knowing how things are going to go on average when it comes to selling your home. And again, your willingness and ability to be flexible in the pricing, because there are other options. There's many for buyers right now. So you just have to be prepared for that. But also, just the last point for the sellers is that it's still a really great time to sell. The average and median prices continue to go up at a healthy rate. And so you're still in a position where you can maximize your property value and capture all the equity that you have, if you are thinking of selling. So those are just a few different takeaways from the market update. And so I would love for you guys to reach out if you have questions. Here at Roost, myself and our team, we would love to be your real estate resource of choice if you're thinking about buying or selling at Lake Norman. So please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be happy to speak to you and help you in any way that we can. So with that, thanks for watching and hope you have a great day.